Hi, folks. We always come out smiling, and we always come out late, but nice to see you again.
How's everybody doing today? What's today? Today is our 24th show. Awesome, right?
Mm-hmm.
While you're drinking your coffee.
Yeah.
Today we're going to talk about a couple different books and some multi-use medications. Also, Jerry's going to show how, once again, to vaccinate your pigeons. If you don't know, if you forget how to do it, we're going to go over that.
Yeah, we've had numerous requests, so we're going to do it again.
And that's going to be the first thing we do, so we can get that out of the way once we start that. A lot of you know that the Big Apple show is coming up. I don't know if you can see this. It is, where's the notes? November 17th. So if you would like to place an order for that show, you can do your pre-orders now, and we will bring it to you. If you have a big order, if you have vaccines you want us to bring, whatever it is, call us now. The latest you can call is probably the Wednesday before the show. So once again, the Big Apple show is November 17th in Connecticut.
Greenwich.
And we are taking pre-orders for that show.
And if you need more information on the show, you can give us a call. Is there a phone number on there, on that?
There is.
Okay, maybe we can give that out.
It's 1-800-233-1234.
And that's why it's a good show. It's a very, very busy show.
I got the wrong phone number, sorry.
Okay, but it's a very busy show, and if you get the wrong number from Gina, it's not my fault, it's her fault.
That was the number for hotel accommodations. The number for Andrew, who is in charge of the show, Andrew Franz, he's the show super. His number is 914-356-5100.
Okay.
Also, we have the 2019 year bands. You can start pre-ordering those now, and they will ship out the last week of December. The NPA bands are different this year. They are metal. They're all metal. And then the other ones are the same as they used to be, the plexiglass coated.
Have you seen them?
I have.
Oh, I haven't seen them yet.
Yeah. And
you like them?
Yeah, they're nice.
Okay.
And the NPA bands this year are black. We haven't got the other bands, so I don't know the colors, but the NPAs are black.
Okay. We sell AU, American Racing Pigeon Union, International Federation, IPB, which is Independent Pigeon Breeder in a couple of sizes, and of course, the most popular band in the United States is the NPA band, National Pigeon Association.
So no matter which year band that you want, you can pre-order them now. We'll get them out the last week of December. We cannot send them out now. They don't ship till the last week of December.
And that's so you can't band 2019 on a bird born in 2018 unless you're right there in about the last week or so.
Right.
I wanted to mention shouldn't say our whole company, but 7 of us were in Louisville this past weekend. Had a great show, great time. And it's amazing, Gene and I were talking about it, how many people came up and complimented us on the show. More Gina than me, and a couple of people scolded me for saying something about Gina that I shouldn't have said. And I won't repeat it because it'll just get me in trouble again. But thank you so much. I had a gentleman tap me on the shoulder in Louisville and said, you know what? He says, your show is must-see TV. I thought that was funny, but that's great. And we're right around between 50 and 60,000 views for our show, and that just speaks volumes. We're so appreciative of you folks taking the time to watch the show, and maybe tell them how they can watch our past shows.
Sorry, I was reading the question. Our past shows you can see on our website, and they're also on YouTube.
All you do about get on. I don't know how to do it. we're going to have an auction after the show. We're going to show the birds, right? You were
Yes.
going to say something? 'Cause I'm good
I
at
was
interrupting.
going to say, yes, speaking of Louisville,
Uh-huh.
we've had a lot of phone calls about sick birds. You want to expound on that?
Yeah, okay. Yesterday was the busiest day I've ever had on my phone at home. And if you want to talk to me at home, I'll give you my phone number. But if I don't answer many times, it's because I'm already on the phone with somebody else. I call everybody back as long as you call me between 9 and 5 Eastern Time. After 5 o'clock, I generally don't answer the phone. You can just do so much. But like yesterday, I think I had between 35 and 40 phone calls. And which leads me to the conversation we're going to have about this virus that is traveling all over the place. A lot of the questions were about the pigeons that they brought back from the Louisville show. But I want to say this first. The Louisville show is not the cause of your birds getting sick. It is the cause, what is, in my opinion, the cause is the fact that you're showing the birds. Now that sounds odd, I know, because we're going to show our birds, but preparation is so important, and we'll talk about that. But it's the stress. Number one, you have to catch them, put them in a basket, put them in your vehicle, drive for hours and hours, in some cases 10, 15, 18, 20 hours just to get there, and they're in that crate. Very stressful. Then you pick them out of the crate, put them in the show cage. Stressful. Now they're eating and drinking water and feed that they're not used to. Stressful. We've talked about this before. And then it's reversed and you go home. Same amount of time. So that's very, very stressful. Stress.
Same as for us when we're traveling.
Yeah, stressful for us. Yeah. Where was I before you so rudely interrupted me?
It's stressful for the pigeons.
But anyway, stress weakens the immune system. And remember, especially Louisville, it's a young bird show. And being young, in a lot of cases, the birds haven't developed a full immune system like the breeders have. So what's the answer? I'm not sure I have all the answer, and I'll talk about it a little bit, but we're going to talk about the virus first. But the adenovirus is what most of you folks are seeing. The word virus tells you right off, being a virus, there is no treatment. And there is no vaccine or anything that you can use as a preventative. If it's going to hit you, it's going to hit you. Symptoms, the most telling system is the vomiting of the feed on the floor, or a lot of times, because the way they vomit, it's on the perches. So if your birds are throwing up, most of the time, and especially right now, you've got the virus. Another symptom is very, very loose, watery dropping. So like a guy called me yesterday and said, looked like somebody turned a hose on in my loft. The floor's all wet. Yuck, he said. And that, here again, symptom of the virus itself. Your best bet when you have those wet floors is get that stuff out of there as quick as you can. It's messy. You've got to scrape it all into a corner or scrape it into a dustpan and dump it into a bucket. It comes out, you get that much. So what do? The first thing you should do is go to your local feed store and get some electrolytes. We sell them. We're not trying to sell a product here. We sell them, but you can get them locally. So electrolytes help to rehydrate your pigeons. When their droppings are all water, that means they're drinking, the water's going straight through them. And they could become dehydrated. So electrolytes are not a medicine, not a treatment, but they will help to reconstruct. What's the word I'm looking for? Mm-hmm. Yeah, puts water back in them. Yeah. Hydrates them, that's the word I was looking for. So you want to hydrate them. Now, what do you do while you have them? I'm going to go back to the show. I talked to Mike Owens today, and he's going to get us more information. I'm watching myself on the TV on my big screen up there. I talk with my hands all the time. That's a Frenchman in me. Anyway, Mike Owens had this disease a while back. It was devastating. It just killed hundreds and hundreds of his pigeons. Nothing worked. So he did try, finally, a product called Nutri Drops, N-U-T-R-I, Drops, D-R-O-P-S. And we're out of it, are we not, Gina?
We are.
And
We'll
it's
have
on
it
its way?
Tuesday.
Yeah, we'll have it on Tuesday. And if you want to order it, you can call, they are allowed to
Yes.
all order now. You can call us and we'll ship it to you. But as far as, I'll stay in Louisville first. What you're going to do is this product comes with a pump. Every time you pump down 1 cc comes out of it. So what you want to do is if you have any birds that are affected, or if you want to do them all, it makes sense. Catch the bird, open its beak, and pump down one time. That's 1 cc. You can go a little bit more if you want. If you want to go 2 or 3, that's acceptable too. But keep in mind you can overdose is not the right word, because you can't overdose the breeders, the babies you could. But you're going to see the birds shake their head like that because they hate the taste of it. But it's like when you give your kids castor oil. They don't like that either. So the pigeons don't like it, but it's going to help them a lot. Mike shared with me when he used Nutri Drops, it stopped the virus in its track. Now, I don't want to make these big promises that it's going to do that for you. In fact, I have a call to make after this show with a gentleman who, as soon as he got home from the Louisville show, put him on Nutri Drops, and the birds are not reacting to it at all. Mike Owens, before he went to Louisville, treated every bird he brought to the show with Nutri Drops. He put it in the drinking water, he put it down their throat. When he got to the show, remember a few shows back we talked about bringing your own water and things like that to reduce stress? Well, what Mike did was put the Nutri Drops in the drinking water at the show, and he put another drop or 2 down their throat. As soon as he got home from the show, he put Nutri Drops down their throat. He quarantined all of his birds that he showed, put them in a separate cage, and they're going to be there for 30 days. And he gives them the Nutri Drops every day. He says, Jerry, I have not had one iota problem. Is that a good word, iota? Mm-hmm. Sounds almost like Idaho. No, that's different, huh? Don't mind me. By the way, we're doing this show in the warehouse, as most of you know, and we've got the door open, and it's cold outside, so that's why we're dressed a little warmer than normal.
No sleeves.
And that's why I'm drinking coffee. Keep me warm.
Anyways,
I went off on a sidetrack, didn't I? He hasn't had one problem with his birds at all, with one exception. Of all the birds he showed, one of the birds did develop a respiratory issue. One bird, not the virus that we were talking about. And he gave them Tylenol, and he said it cleaned it up right away. So I urge you to consider buying Nutri Drops. Comes in a little 8-ounce container. It's not terribly expensive. Let me have that just for a second, please, Gina. Just to read a little bit about it. It treats is a strong word. It's for use in fighting the adenovirus, perimyxovirus, circovirus. It gives your birds a fighting chance by boosting their immune system. So you'll see, it's not a medicine. It's an all-natural product, but it will strengthen the immune system. And if you can strengthen the immune system, you're halfway there. So it's a great product. It's good for overall health. You don't have to wait until you get the adenovirus. People use it. Mike Owens uses it year-round. It's good for growth and fertility. Good during the mating and the breeding season. It increases the possibility of fertile eggs, and it's great for shows and performance, like racing pigeons. So it's a great product. I think I've spent enough time on it. Hi, Sherry, you're okay. Are you going outside?
so the directions, if if you're using it as a preventative, it's recommended 3 cc's per gallon of water. For treatment is 5 cc's per gallon of water.
And Mike is going to email us when he gets some time the way he uses it completely. So if we don't have it when you call, we can send it to you when we get it, okay?
And the directions were not on our website, but they are now as of this morning.
Okay. It's an epidemic. I've got calls the last 2 or 3 weeks from all over the United States. So it wasn't just from the Louisville show. It's in California, it's in Texas, it's in Florida, it's everywhere. So be aware. Best thing I can tell you is don't bring any new birds in. Or if you do bring new birds in, quarantine them for at least 30 days, at least, and keep them out of the loft if you can. Put them in a separate building. Okay.
You want to read that?
Why do I need this? It's about
Did you? Yeah, you wanted to tell everybody.
Don't mind us folks. Group 2?
No, he got his birds. He was telling.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You can see how much we rehearsed this show. Gentleman sent us an email. It says, just wanted to send an email saying Group 2, that was racing homes from our show, arrived this morning safe and sound. They look great and enjoying their new loft. Thank you very much, and I look forward to doing future business with you guys. So the point we're trying to make here, I suppose, and he sent a picture too, black and white, so it probably wouldn't show up. We're going to be talking about the auction. The auction ends between 4 and 4:30. We go to 4:30 and then it's over. So if you want to bid on some birds, you can, and we'll be talking. I said we're going to start out the show with them. We didn't do that, did we?
No.
But I ship every Tuesday. So if you buy birds or you finally end up with the top bid at this show for the 3 pair we have, I'll ship them to you on Tuesday as long as they're paid for, and you can pay for them with a credit card, right?
Right.
If you pay for a check, you'd have to overnight us, or you'd have to, you'd have to wait until the following week. So it wouldn't be this Tuesday.
So, let me just say this real quick. Once the auction's over, don't call right away, because I got to take a few minutes to finish everything up and get back inside. So call like 10 minutes after the show's over. Okay.
Okay.
Anyways, our next Facebook Live will not be on Friday, November 16th, because we will be heading to the Big Apple show. But we will be having a special show on November 20th. It's going to be the holiday show. I'm not going to tell you what the specials are right now.
Going to be some great ones.
Yeah. So you got to stay tuned for Tuesday, November 20th. It's going to be our holiday show.
That's the Tuesday before Thanksgiving.
Correct.
And no show the Friday.
Friday, yes. Correct.
Okay.
Anything else you want to interrupt me with?
You're supposed to say, I'll be quiet while you interrupt me.
Right. So, while we're speaking of the holiday special, we have gift certificates available. So, if you want to get gift certificates for somebody for the holidays, now's the time to get them. You can get them in any denomination, and we'll either mail them to you or we'll put them on the person's account that you're getting the gift certificate for, or if you're buying them for yourself.
Well, you can mail them to the recipient. Is that what you said?
Either way.
Yeah. Okay. And we sell a lot of gift certificates because if you're a lady watching us for your significant other, you may not know what to buy him. But if he's got pigeons, you know what to buy.
Right.
Like you. All right.
So we're going to do the vaccination first to show how to vaccinate. So
Yeah, I'm going to have to step back because when I do it, I put them between my legs to hold them because I vaccinate them by myself. You don't need 2 people to vaccinate.
Right.
I need the syringe.
You need the bird.
Okay, well, I thought that was... Okay.
This is the needle and syringe. You can...
Okay, this is the one of the grizzles that's going to be auctioned, finalize the auction today. A beautiful bird. I love it. It comes from generations and generations back. It's a hen, and here's how I vaccinate. Pretty simple. Put the bird between my legs. Can you see that okay? Okay. Bird between my legs, and what I'm doing is I'm holding its wings so it can't get away from me. This is a scissor motion. I do this on the bird's right across his eyes and top of his beak, and I fold the head back. And what I do now, I don't have any skin that I can see, so I'm going to peel it back a little bit. I would suggest you get yourself some water and spray it, spritz it. Yeah, go ahead. Oh, you brought some water. Hang on, right here. There you go. Yeah. So now that, see, I can see the skin. It separates the feathers a little bit. Here, this is my syringe. What's in here, Gino? Just water? Okay. What I'm going to do is just, can't see it very well. Don't worry about it. The skin is there right underneath the feather. I stick the needle in just a little bit, and I vaccinate them. Push down. This has 1 cc in it. It's measured. All of our syringes are measured with anywhere from 3 to 6 cc's. Okay. So that's basically all you did. I didn't push it down because I didn't want to inject water in it for no reason, I think, but putting the water around. So that's very simple. The bird's done. Nothing you can do. It's so simple, but do we not have it on our site, Gina?
Yes, we do.
And how would you find it?
Veronica. She'll put the link on there on how to get to the vaccination on there so you can see it online. Okay.
Enough about the auction.
So, well, let's show the birds real quick for the auction.
Okay.
You want to do it? Go ahead. Just tell them what's what, and then.
Okay, we have 3 pair. This top pair, I love them, and everybody else here mentioned how they like these birds as well as anything else that we're going to be talking about today. These are coop tumblers. Coop tumblers they're Syrian coop tumblers. Syria is real close to the Turkish border, so that the coop tumblers are also in some cases called Turkish tumblers. But they're a show bird. Pardon?
Just talk about them real quick so we can.
Okay, so there's your bird. All right. Now, going down, we have 2 pair in here. The Indian fantail. We have a red and a chocolate, and a pair of grizzled, top quality racing pigeons that go back many, many years, and we'll talk more about the breed goes back. The strain goes back many, many years. We'll talk more about it after this show. The auction is between 4 and 5, 4 and 4:30. You rushed me through that, Gina.
Well, because we need to do the show. The auction
okay.
is after.
Okay.
I just wanted to do it real quick.
All right, what's next?
Okay.
Oh, we do take questions, don't we? I'm sorry.
Yes. If you have any questions, whether it's something we're talking about or something else, just send it in and we'll answer it live.
Okay. And we do have some. Do you want to start on the products we're going to talk about?
We're going to start on the products first. So first product we're going to talk about is 3-in-1, and that treats canker, coccidiosis, and worms.
People ask me a lot about these combination products. We sell 3-in-1, 4-in-1, and the equivalent of a 5-in-1. I'll tell you right off the bat, I'm not a fan of combination products at all. And yet they're our biggest sellers, but it's the American way. We're looking for the easy way. Coccidiosis, canker, and worms. If you have worms and you don't think you have canker and you don't think you have coccidiosis, why treat? Use a worm product or a canker product or a cocci product. But it still is these 3 are our most popular. If I were going to use any of these products, 3-in-1, 4-in-1, 5-in-1, 3-in-1 is what I would use, because 3-in-1 does not contain an antibiotic, so they're not going to develop a resistance to it. It's for the parasites we just mentioned. 1 teaspoon to a gallon for 5 days. It's so important to read these directions. Just like if your doctor gives you a medication, you're supposed to listen to him, and you're supposed to follow the directions. And some of us guys don't do that necessarily, but that's guy thing. Your wife will be all over you if you don't. But follow the directions. If it says 5 days, don't go 2 days and it'll look good, or 3 days and you think, well, that's enough. 5 days. Follow it with a good probiotic. So it contains contains a wormer, a cocci medicine, and a canker medicine. 3-in-1, good product. Follow the directions and follow it with a probiotic.
Okay, the next product is going to be the 4-in-1, which comes in a powder and tablets. It treats canker, paratyphoid, E. coli, and coccidiosis.
Okay. The only reason you're going to use the tablet is if you want to treat an individual bird or 3 or 4 birds, or you only have a few birds and you've got the time to drop a pill down the throat. Pills are better. Just plain pills are better for individual treatment because you're sure the bird got the proper dosage. And we're going to talk about it, when you put it in the water, you're depending on how much water they drink, whether they're thirsty or not. But when you have a lot of pigeons, like me, like you, the water is so much easier. But on the tablets themselves, we'll talk about, this contains furaltadone. The furaltadone is for the paratyphoid, some people call it salmonella. And it contains ronidazole 10%. Ronidazole is for your canker. And it's good for cage birds, too. I should have mentioned that. Not just pigeons, but cage birds. 1 tablet, 5 to 7 days. 7 days is better. That's the, I know it says 5 to 7, but if it were me and you seriously want to use a good product, 4-in-1 tablets, 7 days. The powder goes into drinking water. Easier to use, especially when you have big flocks. Thank you. What was I doing?
You was going to read the directions.
Oh. Furaltadone, ronidazole, I already mentioned
Same
that.
thing.
And the directions are 1 heaping, not level, 1 heaping teaspoon to a gallon of water, 7 continuous days. This last sentence is important to you. You can make this product work even better. If you use a 4-in-1, combine it with the Entramune. We have that in our catalog. It's a Avio product. It makes it work better. So it's a 7-day treatment. First 5 days, you combine Entramune and 4-in-1 powder. The last 2 days, you're going to use just the 4-in-1 powder and then follow that with a probiotic.
Right. And one thing that's important when you are medicating, when you put the medication in the water, you have to change the water every day. Don't just because there's water left the next day leave it in there. Change the water with the medication every day.
Exactly. Another one? 5-in-1? All in one.
Next thing is 5-in-1 or all-in-one. It comes in 2 sizes, a 100-gram and a 200-gram. Canker, coccidiosis, wormer, respiratory, and a probiotic.
Okay. 5-in-1, we call it all-in-one, but all of our other competitors call it 5-in-1, we call it all-in-one. Okay. 2 teaspoons to a gallon for 5 days. It's just exactly what Gina said, change it every day. Don't think they didn't drink it all, it's going to be good. Don't do that. It contains amprolium, ronidazole, levamisole, and Tylen. Amprolium is for coccidiosis, ronidazole is for canker, levamisole is a wormer, and Tylen is a product for respiratory issues, and it does contain a probiotic. But I would still follow it with a probiotic. My favorite, I think, is Rejuvenation. Good product. Made by, remember, Dr. Pigeon. Good man. Here's what it says, and here's where if you've talked to me on the phone, and I know I sell the product, and here's why I don't like it. It's as a preventative, it tells you here, prevention. You can't prevent disease, in my opinion. Okay, am I speaking against my own product? But the reason I say that, and you've probably heard me say this before, if you're using it as a preventative, the day you use it, your birds, or most of your birds, or all of your birds are perfectly healthy. and you give it to them. It's a 5-in-1 so they don't get sick. Well, would you take a powdered medicine or a tablet today so you don't get sick next week? Common sense says no. The only benefit of using 5-in-1 as a preventative, I suppose, is when you know you've got an issue. You know the birds just aren't right. It won't hurt them to give it to them, but if you give it to them and they're perfectly healthy, you threw your money away, basically. So I truly believe it's a good product if you have an issue and you don't know what the problem is. Okay?
Ricky asked the question, can it be used with tap water or bottled water?
A good question. In fact, a good friend of mine, Fred Tolke, asked me that, and I contacted 2 different veterinarians about that. Tap water is fine. Tap water does have chlorine in it, but the amount is so minute. Dr. K, Dr. Bosa both said there's not enough chlorine in the water to affect it. If you want to use special water that you buy at the store, well, that's fine too. The other thing that you can do, and I don't do this anymore, you can leave the water overnight. The chlorine dissipates, and the next day it's fine. There's nothing in it. But the chlorine that is in all of our drinking water has no effect on medications.
Just a comment from a customer. You talked to Mr. David Blondo last week, and he said the homers I called you about last week that wasn't flying are out right now flying.
That's good news. We all as human beings have a tendency to think negative, talk negative. It isn't very often I get feedback that says, boy, it really did work. So when we do hear from folks like you, we appreciate it.
Thank you. The next...
That's our mail going out.
The next product we're going to talk about is the Spiridox, which comes in powder and tablets as well, and this is for respiratory.
Okay. Same thing goes if you only have 1 or 2 birds with the respiratory issues. That's sneezing, coughing, watery eyes, mucus in their throat, brownish color on their nose. You've got probably a respiratory issue. So the treatment for this is 1 tablet a day for 7 days. Contains doxycycline and it contains spreomycin. And when we say doxycycline, what do we know, Gina, about the grit?
Remove the grit.
Okay. I spring these questions on her, so she could have written down. If you use any medicine that ends in cycline, C-Y-C-L-I-N-E, don't give grit while you're using it. So this does contain doxycycline and spreomycin. Great tablets especially for ornithosis and mycoplasmosis, which are both respiratory issues. The powder is basically, it is the same product, 5 grams. That's a teaspoon level to a gallon. To a liter. A liter is basically a little bit more than a quart. So it's 4 teaspoons in. I don't even read my own directions. 4 teaspoons to a gallon of drinking water for 7 continuous days, and follow it with a good probiotic. Okay.
Okay, next one is going to be Tylemox, which is Tylen and amoxicillin, and it treats respiratory, paratyphoid, and E. coli.
Tylemox is just shortened Tylen and amoxicillin. Tylen respiratory, combine it with amoxicillin, a broad spectrum antibiotic, so you've got something that will treat a lot of different things. 1 teaspoon a gallon, 5 to 7 days. I like 7 days better, but you've got a combination. You might think it's respiratory, but you're not sure. Tylemox, what you've got is a Tylen for the respiratory issues, amoxicillin as a broad spectrum antibiotic, treats a lot of different things.
Followed with?
Probiotic. Follow anything that you use in medications with the probiotics. I want to go back. We mentioned worming in a couple of these products. If you use a wormer, and just come to my mind, always clean your floor after the use every day. So if it's coccidiosis or worms, scrape the floor clean, because especially cocci and some of the roundworms, they expel them. It does not kill it. They actually paralyze the coccidiosis worms. It goes through the system, and when the paralyzation wears off, what a nice word, paralyzation. When that wears off, and the birds pick that up again, you're going to be in a cycle. So anytime you want to worm or treat for cocci, scrape the floor the next day.
Good job.
One more.
Last one is doxytide, which is doxycycline and Tylen, and it treats sinusitis, respiratory, enteritis, bumblefoot. Jerry.
Yes.
No.
Oh, yes.
Enteritis, bumblefoot, mycoplasmosis, and ornithosis.
Don't mind me, I left because
That's not his.
I thought it was the UPS driving up, and I thought it was FedEx driving up, and it's UPS, right? You okay? Just cold?
Yeah.
I'm goosebumped too. All right, doxytide. It's a combination of doxycycline and Tylen. Now, both of those are respiratory products, so if you've got a serious respiratory problem, you may want to try this. It's a teaspoon to a gallon, 7 days. Remove all other sources of water. In other words, that's all they get. Change it every day. And remember I told you, if it ends in cycline, you want to remove the grit. So if you're going to use doxytide, it's remove the grit. Treatment is 7 days. Follow it with a probiotic. Okay. While Gina just had to step away for a second, we have a couple of questions up there. One, I'm sorry, the gentleman has sent it in. I'm going to have to ask you a question. It says, for coccidiosis, he has white diarrhea, and what's in liquid or powder for, and I don't know what the last word means, VEVER. I'm not really sure. So if you would call, but we've already talked about all these products, but if you want something for coccidiosis, and coccidiosis does not create white droppings, but coccidiosis does create lime green, very light green. White diarrhea, I'd have to do some research on that, so I'm really not sure. But if you want to treat for coccidiosis, we have it in pill form, which is Corid. Is that right?
Not in pill. We have Corid and powder and liquid.
Okay, powder and liquid in the drinking water, and we have a product called Cocci Worm, correct? For tablet. Okay. Did I miss something?
No.
Okay. So, sir, if you want to call after the show, 724-843-6889. I'll be glad to talk to you because I'm really not sure what your complete question is. We have another question. Shall we handle that one? Jimmy Goetz, Goetz, right? Goetz. Okay. What is recommended for the treatment of adeno? Maybe you're just tuning into the show, but we have discussed it. And the word that hits me when I read your question, what is the recommended underlying treatment? There is no treatment. It's a virus. So being a virus, there's no product, there's no vaccination that you can use on the adeno. But if you do have it, make no promises. I don't want to make claims that I can't substantiate, but I will tell you, people around the country have had good luck with a product called Nutri-Drops. And we've sold out of it over the last few days because of the fact that the adenovirus is traveling across the country. We will have more coming in on Tuesday. You can call and order it today or tomorrow, and we'll ship it out to you the day we get it. So, because they say Tuesday, it could be Wednesday. Happens occasionally. So, go ahead.
We do have two other products for adeno, which is Adeno Zap and Adeno S. They're both liquid that go in the water.
And they've worked on almost all viruses in the past, but I guess I'm leaning on this Nutri-Drops because people have had good luck. But, as I said at the beginning of the show, one gentleman used it as soon as he got back from the show, and he has not seen any results. So I don't want to oversell the product.
No, not that he has not seen any results. He just has some that are kind of off, and
Okay. All right. Sorry.
it's okay.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna go into books. First book we're gonna talk about White Pigeons, The Color of Money, which yours truly, Jerry, wrote it.
As you can see, it's not big. White Pigeons, The Color of Money refers to the fact that I wrote it for all of the people who are getting into the white dove release business. And as you know, when they do weddings and funerals and sporting events or grand openings, they don't release doves. They're actually releasing white racing homers, but the general public thinks of doves as birds of love and peace and all of that, and they don't think highly of any other kind of pigeons, so we call them white doves. The other title I could have used, but it was already taken, is Pigeons for Dummies. If you've had pigeons all your life, well, you might not need this book because you already know a lot of the answers. But I wrote it for the people who are getting into a business, in a lot of cases never had pigeons, don't know that pigeons produce milk, don't know that both the mother and the father can feed the bird, don't know that the hen lays on the eggs during the day or the cock in the evening, don't know that they lay 2 eggs, don't know, just I can go on, don't know, don't know, don't know. So I wrote this trying to answer all the basic questions. Some of the titles that might affect you is the loft maintenance, feeding them, training them, health management, advertising. That wouldn't necessarily interest you, but there's a lot of good plain information. It's number 9002, right? I know that because I recommend it frequently to people just getting into the business. I think it sells for $13.
Yes.
And if you like, because people ask me that, and I feel kind of embarrassed sometimes about it, but if you want me to sign it, I wrote it, I'd be more than happy to. Okay.
Next book is another book that Jerry wrote. It's Lost of North America, and he has signed plenty of these books. A lot of people ask him to sign it.
This is my pride and joy, so to speak. It took me 5 years to put this together, and I couldn't have done it without all of the people in the United States, Canada, Puerto Rico, Hawaii, that sent me pictures of their loft. In some cases, it's stages where there's the bare ground, there's the floor, and it built it, and then there's the inside. It's all in color. I should say 99 point whatever in color. It's just, I wish I could show it to you all, but it's all about pigeon loft, all the different ones. And it goes from not just the Taj Mahals, although they're in here, the people who built lofts that might have cost $100,000, and it's just a gorgeous loft. But I also have a lot of lofts in here that are just, I don't want to say shacks, but they just put them up to house their pigeons. They're functional, they do the job. Also, there are there are pictorials that show you how to build a loft. So it just goes on and on and on. I like it. It's hardcover. It 192 pages. I wrote this about 4 or 5 years ago. I'm going to have to read this book again. But it's just so much information. It isn't just the lofts. It talks about drinkers. It talks about feeders. Goes on and on. I wish I could go into it more. But there's some really beautiful lofts in here. And the other part of it is they tell you why they did what they did. Looking for a great book, Lofts of North America. Just a great, great book.
Number 802.
802, okay.
$65.
65. Oh, okay. I told the guy $79 yesterday. I hope we charged him 65.
I think that's what it used to be, or what the back of the book says.
And it's a lot of money. And the reason it's so much money is an author that's well known all over the world that writes fiction or whatever, they print hundreds of thousands of their books. Well, we're talking about a pigeon book. And I can't print 100,000. It would last over the next century, 100,000 books. So we don't print a lot of them, comparatively speaking, and the less you print, the more the book costs. So that's one of the reasons it's fairly high priced.
But it's worth it.
Thank you. All right.
Next book is Problem Droppings Explained.
If you've ever called me about the health of your birds, you can rest assured one of the first questions I'm going to ask you is what color are the droppings? The droppings color and consistency tells me a lot about the bird, especially lime green, dark green, not somewhere right in the middle, runny, not runny. This book is out of print. We still have it available. It's Problem Droppings Explained, signs, causes, treatment, and so forth. And here again, I can't show you all the pictures, but I'll give you an idea of the what normal droppings look like. Changes that may be seen. Droppings tested in the lab. We offer that service. If you have your droppings and they don't look right, or your pigeons are sick, you can send them to Foy's. You can call and ask for Sherry. She'll tell you how to do it. And we have a veterinarian that's not on staff but offers the service. It's reasonable, $40.
Yes.
Yeah, $40 for the first sample, and then after that, in separate envelopes, if you send them all together, it's $20. Description of worms and coccidiosis, examination of bacteria and yeast infections, viral infections, control of droppings management, and the treatment of and the medications that they would suggest. Great book, just a booklet, inexpensive. Do you know what it costs?
$13.
$13. All right.
Next one is The Pigeon by Dr. Colin Walker.
Okay. Greatest book on the market today. This book is all in color. You can see how many pages it is. It's heavy. It 100. Let me see. I'm got to be 200 or 300 pages. 200 or 300. 665 pages in full color. It's the purchase of a lifetime. There's another book called Pigeons, which is still on the market. It was written 50 years ago by Wendell Levi. This book is called The Pigeon also, but it's written by a veterinarian, Dr. Colin Walker, who is a pigeon breeder. I could go over the chapters, but with 600 pages, there isn't anything that's not covered. And it also, like I say, it's in color. It shows you samples of droppings. It tells you how to use a microscope. It tells you, it breaks down each disease and tells you how to treat them. Then it also has a whole lot of different breeds, pictures of the birds. So here again, 600 pages. If you have, what a great
Would be a great Christmas
Really
gift.
great Christmas. We think
We're
alike. You
thinking
do.
the same thing.
If you want to buy your significant other something for Christmas, what a great product.
$140.
Sounds like a lot of money, but you'll have this book for the next 20 years or however long you live or have pigeons. You're going to have that book, and I'll tell you, when people call and I don't have an answer, and I tell them, let me do some research, that's one of the books I go to. I go to that one first, and then there are others. But if you want a great book, I don't want to oversell it because I can't. Nothing better on the market.
That's right.
We've only got about 9 more minutes, huh?
Yes, we do.
And we have a question.
Oh, yes.
Oh.
Paul Souza. Jerry, I have a bird throwing up and green loose droppings. Could I give amoxicillin? I have giant runts.
You can give amoxicillin. It'll do no good, with one exception. When you introduce anything foreign into a pigeon's body, it stimulates the immune system, so the immune system is a little stronger, but it won't treat the disease. What you've got is the adenovirus. This is the second or third question, very similar questions today, and I get calls on it all the time now. There are 2 or 3 products that we offer. The one I offer is not a treatment, but it seems to help an awful lot. It's called Nutri-Drops. It can be given individually, or it can be put in the drinking water. We sell something called Adeno-Zap, same purpose, to help stimulate the immune system, all natural product for the adenovirus, which is what you've got. And one of the products that has been known for years to help through any virus is something called elderberry juice. So if I had to choose between the three, it's going to be the adenovirus, which we're sold out of. We'll be back in stock next Tuesday or Wednesday.
Nutri-Drops?
Pardon?
Nutri-Drops.
What did I say?
Adenovirus.
I'm sorry, Nutri-Drops are out of stock. So, in answer to your question, there's absolutely no doubt. When your birds start throwing up and you get loose droppings, you've got a virus. It is not treatable. Amoxicillin is an antibiotic. It does not treat a virus. Nothing treats a virus. Can I say it any stronger? Okay. All right. Anything else we have to cover?
Nope. Just wanted to say that I wore my Steeler jacket just for y'all today. For all you haters.
Yeah, playing Baltimore this weekend. We always have trouble with them.
Yes, we do.
Something I wanted to mention also, we get calls occasionally about this, and I thought I'd cover it if we had some time. We sell to other people. So what I'm saying is we sell wholesale. If you're in the business or thinking about getting into the business, we'd be glad to answer your questions. You have to call Kim at 724-843-6889. We don't sell wholesale to people who are just buying it for their friends or for because they have a lot of pigeons. You must have a sales tax ID number for you to be considered a distributor. But if you want to go into the business, so you've got a lot of pigeon people around you, we'd be glad to talk to you. Kim would explain it. You would get a discount off every product we sell. We try to, pardon?
Almost every product.
Almost every. We don't discount seamless birth bands. We don't discount feed. There are some we can't.
Right.
But anything that we can, we try to give you a profit that makes sense for you and would cover the most of the shipping costs to you. So if you are interested in selling pigeon products, Foy's sells to 13 other companies in the United States and Canada, so we'd be glad to discuss it with you. Call Kim, 724-843-6889.
And once again, we will not be having a show on November 15th, I believe is the date. 16th, November 16th, which is a Friday. We will be headed to the Big Apple show in Connecticut, but we will have a special show, a special holiday show on Tuesday, November 20th. Can't give you no hints on what there's going to be in that show, but you got to tune in to get the specials.
Something I wanted to mention, this is off the wall, and I haven't asked anybody whether I should do this or not. Can I sell this? It's in our book.
You
Did you know that?
advertise.
Okay.
Yeah, I do.
This is what all of our people have here at Foy's. And when they get a health question, if they're not sure, they can go to this book. I wrote it. It's nothing fancy. It wasn't meant to be available to our customers, but we've got so many requests that this is available. I write it and I update it on a regular basis. The one you get would be the most current, and it breaks it down into simple language. Give you an idea: PMV, young bird disease, the treatment, the product to use, the symptoms: herpes virus, paratyphoid, scaly leg mites, one-eyed cold, stretching out their neck. Why are they doing that? Why does their breath stink so much? Why are their droppings green, yellow, white? It's in most cases it's in here. Why do the birds have bad feathers? It goes on and on. It breaks it down. Eyes, what to look for. Why is a bird blinking? Why is it blind in one eye? If you talk about the mouth, is it clear or does it have slimy stuff in its throat? Is it black inside? Is it tan inside? Is it slimy? Is it yellowish green? So that's the mouth. The nose. Is it dirty looking? Am I going on too fast? Mm-hmm. No? Okay. Growth on the nose. Upper respiratory problems with the nose. Crop. Why is the bird, when you turn it upside down, the liquid's coming out of it? The head, on occasion, a male will attack a bird and you'll have a bloody head. I've got that and what to do about it. In the crop, the wings, they're dragging both wings on the floor. They're dragging one wing on the floor. overcrowding, just goes on and on. Also talks a little bit about feed. It talks about chickens. It talks in some cases about cage bird. So if you're looking for it, it's number 9002. It sells for $10. Is that about that? Is what it sells for, isn't it, Gina?
Yes.
She's talking to Kim, by the way. All right, $10. So if you want the book, call for it. Wanted to add something?
Email only.
Pardon?
Email only.
Email only for.
We'll email it to you.
Email the book.
Oh, yeah, we'll email the book to you. I'm sorry. And it doesn't come with a binder. Just go to Walmart where I buy them and buy your own binder. But we will email it to you. Scan it and email. Is that right? Wish I'd have thought of that. Good idea, Kim. You want to be on the show, Kim? No. Oh, and thank you so much. Kim got so much attention at the Louisville show. Everybody was so happy to see her back in health and good health with a smile on her face. Right? Okay.
Absolutely. Okay, so once again, if you have pre-orders for the Big Apple show, give us a call and we'll bring the order to the show for you.
Mm-hmm. And it makes so much sense. We have a lot of products that are big or heavy. And if you want to order them, pre-order them, and for us to bring them to the Big Apple, doesn't that make sense? Not going to pay any shipping at all. It's free shipping if you order and we bring it to the show that we're going to attend. And the next one is in a couple of weeks at the Big Apple.
Please don't call the last minute because last show we ran out of room. So call by Wednesday before the show to ensure that you get your order on the truck.
Can I call today?
Absolutely.
Can I call tomorrow?
No.
No? Can I call Sunday?
I won't be here.
You can call 9 to 5 Eastern time, but don't hold up because the Big Apple is not as big as the Louisville show, so we are limited on space. So if you want to save some money, get free shipping, so to speak, call for 724
843.
6889. Wow, what a team we are. Well, the show is just about over. I've had a lot of fun. Have you?
Yes.
Did I miss anything? Anything else
I
you want to
don't think
mention?
so. Yeah, just remember if you want to pre-order your bands, you can get them now. If you want a specific number series, you can get that, but you have to order at least 100 bands.
And early because the low numbers go so quick.
Right. So if you want a low number or a specific number, get your year band order in now.
Okay. Now, as most of you know, or if you're just tuning in for the first time, the show is over at 4 o'clock, which it is now. We're going to take a minute or two break, step away, then we're going to come back and continue the auction. Indian fantails, racing homers, and coop tumblers are available. We've already got a lot of bids, or a fair amount of bids, and if you want to creep in, but don't wait. What happened the last show was we had a bid, and at 4:31, right after the show, people sent in bids. It doesn't work that way. You've got to go through Facebook. How do they do it?
Yeah.
Go through Facebook, make the bid, and don't wait too long, because a lot of people think they're going to wait a little bit longer,
second, yeah.
and they get cut off.
Yep.
So thank you. We'll be with you in a couple of minutes.
We'll tell them when we come back.
What I'm going to do, Gina, I'm going to take a pair out of here so that I can see them individually. Okay?
Come here a minute, though, Jerry.
Okay, that's great. Come on.
And do you want to explain why, like the drop-ins?
Yep.
I mean, like on their legs?
We're lucky they're now in the rook.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back, right?
Yes.
Okay, we're on the air. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about all the free breeds first, what's available this week. Every week, the plan, hopefully, as we go forward, will be 3 pair of bids, 3 pair of birds, or in some cases, multiple birds of one breed. There always will be racing homers. There always will be fancy pigeons, and I'm hoping that we'll also have groups. Be 6 birds at a time. Most of the time it's going to be homers. It could be rollers, which we'll be offering at the auction. We've had some nice bids this year, or this week. This particular pair is a pair of coop tumblers. I mentioned earlier in the show, we already really like these birds because the feather is so smooth. They're a booted bird. You can see on their feet, they're not muff. Those are called booted. Very smooth feather. This bird, it's called a Syrian coop bird, and Syria is real close to Turkey, and in some cases they're called Turkish coop pigeons, and they do tumble. They're tumblers, so they do tumble. Somebody was so kind to send in a little note, because I didn't know a lot about the bird, but I sure do like them. That's a mated pair. Okay, he says they do tumble, and they are some rare colors. This one on the left is a chocolate checker. The one on the right is a silver, but it's not the silver that we see in racing homers, but really nice feather. People mentioned, because we had put pictures of these last Monday, a lot of the birds that all of the birds we've got in this particular show, this particular show, that have feathers on the feet, the feathers were a little bit on the green side, and that was because Stupid Jerry didn't put any shavings. I didn't have any shavings in the bottom of the crate, so that the muffs and the feathers got a little bit on the dirty side. And green, because remember in the show I told you, when you transport pigeons, they are stressed, so the droppings are always on the green side. So I gave them baths twice this week, and it cleaned up most of it. So these are the coop tumblers, and so far we have a bid of $75. The way it works, you have to send your bid through Facebook. If you're the highest bidder by 4:30, what's going to happen is you're going to get the birds. So these are coop tumblers. They're considered a rare breed. The Rare Breed Club of America considers these rare. And they come from a good friend of mine. Lost my voice there. Jim Fiesel from Ohio. If you're looking for good pigeons, that's them. Now the next pair we're going to talk about is racing homers. Now, these racing homers are colored. Some people ask me, what is grizzle? Well, there's your typical grizzle bird. There's a hen and a cock. The one that's closest to you is the hen. The one behind it is the cock. They're fairly young birds. Well, I'm not going to catch them, but they're young birds. These are race quality. These aren't your everyday pigeons. These are from a loft. It's the Lex family from the Pittsburgh area. Frank Lex donated them. His brother, Carl, his nephew, Nate, his father, Mr. Lex, had pigeons. His grandfather had pigeons. So we're talking about 3 generations of people who have always raised top quality racing pigeons. If you want to start out with these, you couldn't have a better choice. So what a lot of people like grizzle, so I asked Frank if he would bring some in for me, and he did. And if you need more information after you buy them, I can put you in touch with him, or you can call me. So this is a pair of race quality racing homers. Now I'm going to take the coop tumblers out. Well, I think I'll just add the Indian fan. Remind me, please. I forgot to mention the bid that we have on the racing homer. As of right now, it is $300 for the pair. The bid are increments of $10. So right now we have a $300 bid. That tells you somebody recognizes the quality or knows the Lex family. So at $300, we take it in $10 increments. You might be able to buy them for $310. And I haven't mentioned, the money for these birds does not go to Foy's. It does not go to the contributor. The money for these birds go to the Legacy Fund Trust. The Legacy Fund Trust is a branch of the National Pigeon Association. And what happens is all the money that we take in is invested conservatively, never ever spent. So the person who donates the birds gets the credit for whatever, like if $300, Lex would be considered contributing $300 to the Legacy Fund Trust. And I'm really excited to tell you, we've been around for a good while, this trust, but for the first time ever, we've accepted a request. We finally have enough money invested, and all the money that's invested is never spent, but we can spend the interest or earned income. So we got our first request, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be approved. We are going to finance the production of posters. It's going to be about, hold on. They're going to be just about this size in full color. And what they are, it's going to be all different breeds of pigeons, as many as we can fit on that you can see well. And we're going to give them to feed stores all over the United States. We're going to print a lot of them. Every feed store, in fact, if you know of a feed store that would accept one, we're going to send them. And the whole idea is when somebody walks into that feed store, whether it's an Agway or whether it's any feed store, we have the Rural King now, and what's the one up the street? It doesn't matter. So, pardon? Tractor Supply. Thank you. Is that Sherry back there? Okay, Tractor Supply. They'll have them so people walking in who are buying feed for their dog, their cat, their animals, their chickens will see that pigeons aren't just the pigeons that you see on the street. They're beautiful, and we hope that this will help the future of our hobby. That's what it's all about. So remember, when you bid, and if you get the bird, you're contributing to the future of our hobby. Am I looking black or I look okay? Okay. So I wanted to talk about the other pair, our Indian fantails, and I was doing a little bit of reading. And Indian fantails are originally from India, of all things. They're much bigger, and this is a mated pair, they're much bigger than the American fantail. They're an aggressive bird, very, very popular. There were a lot of them at the show. The one on my right, the red, is a cockbird. The chocolate is a hen. And so far we have $110 bid on the birds. So you have about, how much more time? I can't see the clock. We have about 20 minutes, something, right around 20 more minutes. You can get on Facebook, send us your bid, and you can pay with your credit card, or after you talk to the girls here at Foy's, if you want, they will accept your credit card or check, but you have to run that through the girls. But send in your bid via Facebook. We also remind you that we can't talk for 30 straight minutes about these pigeons. If you have a question, if there's something you are not sure about, or if you have questions about the pigeons, give us or send us it through Facebook, and we'll be glad to answer your question. So we have three distinct pair. We have a pair of Syrian coop tumblers. They are a performing bird, and that you can show them. They do the somersaults. We have a pair of grizzle racing homers, and we have a pair of Indian fantail. And the Indian fantail's tail's a little bit beat up, but like I said, I had them in a crate, bringing them from the Louisville show. The coop tumblers and the Indian fantails are birds that I brought from Louisville that we had on auction, or I had too many birds that were donated. One thing you can say about pigeon people, they're great people. When I put out the word that I was accepting birds for the Legacy Fund Trust, people just walked up and donated the birds. Don't even want credit, but they will get credit. So if you want to know where the birds come from, certainly give me a call, and I'll share that with you if you buy them. So Indian fantails, I have a bid of $110. Go to $120, and you might get them. On the coop tumblers, we have a bid of $75, and I think that people are missing out the boat on this. This is a rare breed. It's a beautiful breed, easy to raise because of their beak and so forth, and they're a calm bird. So if you are interested in them, they make a good addition to any loft. They also make a good Christmas present, believe it or not. I had a call yesterday from a couple about 3 hours away, and the lady says, I want to surprise my husband. It's his birthday, and it was yesterday. She says, so I'd like to come up and look at your pigeons, and I want to buy a pair of utility kings. And I do have white utility kings. She said, may I visit your loft? And I said, absolutely. It was a 3-hour drive. All she told her husband was, I'm going to surprise you, we're going for a ride. Well, 3 hours later, they arrived at my home. We went out to the lofts, and the husband was so appreciative. That was his birthday present. And then she emailed me this morning telling me that her husband was really appreciative and really excited about having a pair of utility kings. So, you can visit my loft. Okay, Federal Express is here, and they're here to pick up. Would you get that basket off of there, please? Thank you. Once again, if you have a question for us, we'll be glad to answer it. We're going to, you can see the pigeons that if you're interested in buying, the bids. Okay, so if I didn't mention it, we're up to $300 on the homers. Did I mention that before? Yes, I did. The tumblers, the coop tumblers, $75. Fantails, $110. Now, the way it basically works is that when you win the bid, I will, after the payment is made, I'll ship the birds. You have to pay the shipping on the birds. That's not included in your price. So it's not terribly expensive. We're going to charge $60, which is below what we normally do. If you go online and see that our shipping costs are more than that, but $60 to ship them to you. That includes the box, which has a cost in itself. So I think it's around. Isn't a box around $10 or two bird box? We ship them by the post office. A lot of people aren't aware that you can ship pigeons through the United States Post Office. So they'll call you, tell you if they got them, or you can call them and tell them you're expecting them, and they'll deliver them right to your door. All right, we talked about a book at the very end of our show. It's called Jerry's Tips. We will email it to you, so if you don't have email or don't have a computer, your daughter, or your son, your grandson, they all have computers, and we can scan it and send it to them. I wrote it. It's what the girls use at the store whenever they have a health question. If they can't answer your question, they go to this book first. When I say book, it's stuff I wrote myself to let them know, because so many of the questions are the same year after year. And what I did was broke it down. I'll give you an idea of what's included. Page 1, just an introductory. Page 2, we're talking about PMV, paramyxovirus. Running out of things to talk. My voice is running out. Anyway, PMV symptoms, what to look for, how you might think you can add things to the water. You can't treat it because it's a virus. How to vaccinate, how much to use in vaccinating, and some products you can use. We sell a product called Viromune. So it's to stimulate the immune system to help prevent viruses. Then Giardia. I bet you 90% of you folks don't know what Giardia is. Giardia is something I've seen, and I've had calls about it. Pigeons will drink water when they're out flying around. They'll land and they'll drink water. They'll drink out of a puddle. They'll drink out of your gutters. And what happened one time is I had a fellow who couldn't figure out what was wrong, and finally narrowed it down. He went up and looked in his gutters. It sounds gross, but there was a dead rat in the gutter that had decomposed. The birds had drank the water, and they got very sick because of the Giardia. So how do you treat it? It tells you in here. Young bird disease. Young bird disease is a form of paratyphoid that your young birds seem to be not able to fight off. circovirus, herpes virus, pigeon pox, chlamydia. Now, chlamydia is not a virus, but chlamydia is one of the few diseases that you can catch from your birds. You know what pink eye is? Well, that's what chlamydia is in humans. I don't want to scare you. It's rare to get it, but I have talked to people who have got it. So how do you treat chlamydia? Mycoplasmosis. That's a respiratory infection. How about this one? What happens when you hear your birds grunting noise? Get calls about that. It's in here. Scaly leg mites, paratyphoid, candida. Some people call that thrush. Little yellow spots or white spots inside the bird's mouth. Tells you what to look for and how to treat it. Hacking sounds from your birds. How about an egg-bound pigeon? What do you do when you get an egg-bound pigeon? We've got it in here. One-eyed coals. Some people call it a one-eyed coal. The technical term is ornithosis. So if you want our little booklet, we'll email it to you. You buy a binder, punch some holes in it, and you'll have it. Everything that Foy's has here available, you'll have too. Coccidiosis. What do? Well, with coccidiosis, you're going to have a set of circumstances where your birds are losing weight. Sometimes, all the time, their droppings are light green, but you'll see a speck of blood in there once in a while, because coccidiosis is a parasite that lives inside your bird in the intestines, and it irritates the walls of the intestines. So what do I do? What do the droppings look like? What do I treat it with? Streptococcus. That sounds like a human problem, doesn't it? But what happens with streptococcus, inside of the mouth will be black. Post-leg paralysis. I get a lot of calls on that one. They'll say, my birds just lay in a hen, not the cock, but the hen seems to be sick. Looks like her feet hurt. She's kind of sitting down, or she's limping, she hurts. If a bird just laid, what happened is from the hen to produce the egg, it takes a lot of calcium out of her body. And many times, and some breeds are more susceptible than others, but many times that lack of calcium in their joints makes it hurt so much they can barely walk, sometimes in the wing joint, usually in the leg joint. Now I'm going on and on, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it some more. The next one would be bumblefoot. But we're in the midst of the National Pigeon Association Legacy Fund Trust auction. We have 3 pair of birds up for auction. We have a pair of rare breed coop tumblers from Syria, or Syrian breed. We have a pair of Indian fantails, and we have a pair of top quality racing pigeons. So if you'd like to bid on them, the fantails were up to $110. The coop tumblers were up to $75. And the racing owners, Jock Quinn, had made a bid of $300. We accept bids in the amount, did I pronounce it correctly? Joaquin. Sorry, Jock Quinn. Joaquin, my daughter corrected me, has bid $300. $10 increments, so for $310 you can step in front of him and he'll have to contact us. Go to Facebook, Foy's on Facebook, you can send in your bid that way. We're talking a little bit about a book that I've never really talked about before. I call it a book, it's more a pamphlet. It's all about health and health tips for pigeons and poultry. Some of the subjects, stretched neck, I get that one. Bird stretches its neck out. Why is it doing that? Well, it seems like it has a hard time swallowing. You look down their throat and it's red and irritated. That's a problem called thrush, candida. Treatment is candistatin on the feed, and of course probiotics. Smelly breath, eye blinking. Do you know when you have young birds that are coming out of the nest and they're weaned, and you watch them very carefully, if you see a bird blinking its eyes on a regular basis, which is abnormal, that bird has not found the drinking water. So watch out for that. And if you have a bird that's blinking, stick their head in the water and they'll gulp water like they're dying of thirst, which they are. so watch out for blinking. How about this one, balloon chest? That's a fairly common problem, and a lot of people think it's sauerkraut. Not necessarily. What sometimes happens with pigeons is they're eating feed like that is sharp. Sometimes corn can be sharp, or they accidentally picked up something sharp, piece of glass, piece of metal, and it cuts a small hole in their breathing tube. And what happens is, you may or may not know, a bird, when a pigeon breathes, it breathes in and breathes out from the same tube. So every time it takes a breath and breathes out, if there's a little hole in that tube, some of the air escapes into the chest cavity, so it blows up like a balloon. Tells you what to do here. I'm not going to share it with you. Item number 9002, give us a call. It's so inexpensive, we'll email it to you. It's $10. Sinusitis. Talked to a guy today about sinusitis. A lot of people mistake sinusitis for canker. Sinusitis is in the roof of the mouth. Sometimes it comes out the sides of their mouth. It's usually a brownish color, and that's not canker. That's sinusitis, which is a respiratory issue. Explains more in this little book. Some types of respiratory problems. Aspergillus, which is a fungal infection, causes respiratory problems. Mycoplasmosis, ornithosis, it goes on and on. We talk about worms, roundworms, hairworms, tapeworms. What to do, how to recognize it, and what to do after you've treated. Dropping. Are they clear? Are they green? Are they lime green? Are they dark green? Are they yellow and green? There's so many different types of droppings that tell me something. As I mentioned earlier, if you call me, I'll ask you, what color are the droppings? Are they pea soup colored? Tells you what to do with you. Vomiting. Boy, there's one we've been talking about a lot today. Usually, if you see bird vomiting, on rare occasions it could be because you wormed them. There's a wormer that would cause that. In most cases, it's going to be the adenovirus. What to do? Herpes virus, PMV, can also cause vomiting, but in most cases it is the adenovirus. Let's show those birds one more time, Gina. All right, this is a pair of Serbian coop tumblers. They are a performing bird, but also a show bird. You can see there's a gold color on the cock bird on his chest. So we have a silver with dark bars, and we have a hen, which is called chocolate check. They have, if you'll notice, they do have feathers on their feet. Those are called, did I tell you, Gina, what those are called? Uh-huh. What are they called? It's called, they're booted. All right, down below, we have two pair here. We have a pair of top quality racing pigeons. Some of the best I think you're ever going to find if you want. I shouldn't say it that strong. Some really top quality. These birds have raced, they're flown, and they've been raced. The other pair is a pair of Indian fantails. Turn around, girls and boys. There you go. So the Indian fantails are from India. They're a very popular breed right now all over the United States. If you go to a fancy show, you're going to see lots and lots of Indian fantails, and they're booted also. I apologize. The droppings that were in the basket when I brought them from Louisville, and the droppings here have soiled their boots. But to clean up a little, it's just easy to give them a bath. You'll notice, Gina, can you catch the 4? I've talked about stress so many times. Look at these droppings. They're loose and they're a little bit on the green side. They're not thick. The problem is they're stressed. So stress produces loose green droppings. That's a perfect example. Okay. We have about 4 more minutes. If you're one of those people that want to wait till the last minute to make a bid on a birds, you've only got 3 or 4 more minutes. Do it now. For fantails, we have a $110 bid. 120 would buy them. For the Indian fantails, the Indian fantails is 110. The coop tumblers are 75, and the racing homers are 300. Increments of $10. Give us a call. Don't give us a call. It has to be done on Facebook. and you'll own some top quality pigeons. Next show is not a Friday, right? 2 weeks from now, the show is a Tuesday. That's Thanksgiving week. The show will be on a Tuesday, and we'll have more birds for you. And I'm sorry, oh, we won't do an auction. Okay. But if you're interested, I'd love to get some more birds in. If you would consider donating a pair or two, ship them to me, bring them to me, and they'll be part of future auctions. We've had the best month the Legacy Fund Trust has ever experienced, and it's because of you folks buying pigeons both here on our show, and we also do auctions at a lot of the shows that we go to. You've got 3 more minutes, 3 pair of birds up for auction. If you're interested in jumping in, $110 for the fantails, $75 for the coop tumblers, $300 for the great pair of racing pigeons. I like to keep them myself, but I won't. We'll ship them out. If you bid, we'll ship them out to you on Tuesday. You can pay with a credit card, you can pay with a check, but we hope that you'll maybe jump the bid up just a little bit. If not, I'm just terribly pleased. We've raised almost $500 today. What a great! All of that money is going into the Legacy Fund Trust. We invest all of the money that we take in. Never ever spend it. If your bid is $100 or more, you'll be listed in the NPA Quarterly twice a year as an honor roll member, so you'll never ever be forgotten. That $100 or more bid will be in the Quarterly twice a year for as long as the NPA is around, and they've been around for 100 years, and they are still a very viable, very successful club. I'm done talking. Gina, you say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Veronica, you say goodbye. She's waving. Yeah, she's over there waving to me. My name's Jerry Gagne. That's Gina Gagne. Thank you very, very much for watching, and thanks for bidding. You've got about 30 seconds. I'm going to shut the show down, but at least I won't be talking, but you know what the birds are, you know the bids. Fantails 110, tumblers 75, racing homers 300. 1 more minute, you can sneak in and steal them. Thanks very much for watching.